Hey, welcome everyone. So I think before we start the proceedings, it's imperative that we all join in and sing the anthem. All right, ready? One. We're singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Oh God!
1, 2, 3. Everybody up.
Everybody up.
Except for you.
No, I'm not singing.
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Show me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the home team. It's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Woo-hoo! All right. So I first met this guy, our guest speaker tonight, Don Johnson, when McMenamin started the renovation of Kennedy School. And Don was one of the first more interesting people that I had a chance to talk with. And I had no idea what to expect when I first met him. And we met here at the school before any renovation had taken place. And, once he starts talking, it's like you just can't believe what's going to come next. And, I heard he had played in the major leagues and for the Yankees for 2 world championship teams. But that's not even the important stuff or the good stuff. Although you have to take a look later on, he's wearing one of his world championship rings. So especially the kids should come up and take a peek. The great thing about Don is that anyone who knows him will tell you he always gives you the straight scoop. His stories are outlandish, unbelievable, but all true. So, as Karen said, unfortunately we had a break or an opening for a program, and I thought this would be perfect. It's summertime, it's baseball time. We got the Hops back in the area. Woo-hoo! So for the next little bit, we're going to talk old-time baseball, some of the classic legends of the game, some of the clowns of the game, and just some unbelievable exploits that happened all around. Before we start, though, Don has experienced recently some health issues, and he wanted me to mention some folks who have really been helpful to help him get through this and continue his recovery. And they are Diane, Sue, Pete, Shonda, and James. So a big round of applause for them. All right, so now just a little background about Don. How many people have heard the name Don Johnson before? Hey, look at that, Don. That ain't half bad.
Okay.
So Don was born here in Portland in 1926, the son of Swedish immigrants. His dad, Gus, was a tough old Swede, as he likes to say, who over the years worked as a cowboy, a laborer building the St. John's Bridge, and worked for many years with Pacific Power and Light. And Gus never encouraged his son to go into baseball. His mom was a little more compassionate about it, but still wasn't too sure about a baseball as a career. But from an early age, Don let it be known he was not going to just go play baseball, but he was going to make it to the major leagues. Any doubts that his Kennedy Elementary School classmates had at first dissolved as the boy called Ole, because of his Swedish background, quickly showed amazing raw talent. As a 7th grader at Kennedy, his pitching beat the undefeated 8th graders at Kennedy. In Legion Ball at age 15 in 1943, he threw 4 no-hitters, 3 in a row, for the albino little Hellships. Over at Jefferson, while a 16-year-old sophomore, the Yankees signed him to a contract. Don Johnson went on to play 18 years of professional baseball as a journeyman, including 7 years in the big leagues for some of the period's best teams and some of the worst. During that time, he suffered through bad seasons and then other years posted incredibly respectable numbers. For instance, in 1954, for the Chicago White Sox, he pitched 46 games, 144 innings, with a 3.13 ERA. 3 years later, yeah, that's worth it. 3 years later, in 1957, Don, playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, a AAA club for the International League, had a phenomenal year for which he was named MVP for the league. He had a pitching record of 26-7, an ERA of 2.25, and led the league in strikeouts and games pitched. Yeah. Don didn't make the Hall of Fame, and in the days before big salaries and multi-million-dollar shoe endorsements, he didn't make a fortune either. But you know, for 18 years, he did what most kids can only dream about. He pitched to the likes of Satchel Paige, Ted Williams, even Fidel Castro. He went to the racetrack with Joe Dimaggio. He hitchhiked across the country with Billy Martin. And he is wealthy beyond imagination with memories of amazing, hilarious, and unbelievable experiences and exploits that he shared with some of baseball's biggest characters and greatest legends. Please welcome Don Johnson. All right, so what we're going to do, can you see this? Yeah. Okay. What we're going to do is kind of go over his career, and I'm sure we're going to get off track. We're going to ramble around and tell some great stories, and then we're going to let you guys ask questions afterwards. So I thought I'd start out with some just pretty amazing things to me anyway. And the first one is, Don, who gave you a call on your last birthday?
Yogi.
Yogi. Who was your first roommate with the Yankees?
Yogi.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. All right, I kind of mentioned this in the introduction already. 1957, Toronto Maple Leafs. Tell me, what caliber of play was that?
It was almost a major leagues, same thing. It was just up, just down a little bit, but they had all big league players playing there.
Yeah.
Jack Kent Cook, I pitched for him, Toronto.
Who's heard of Jack Kent Cook? Yeah. Owner of many sports franchises.
He started in selling Liberty magazines for a nickel a copy. He ended up being a martyr. He owned the Lakers, everybody.
Yeah.
He had a good-looking wife, too, you know.
We'll get to that in a little bit. But what a year you had in 1957. Incredible.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky. The 27-6.
That's not lucky. All right, and you remember this guy?
Satchel Paige.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Satchel.
Satchel was about 85 years old when he was pitching the last time I seen him. And he could throw a ball. When Joe Dimaggio said that in his prime he threw about 120 miles an hour. And he could just right down the middle. And he roomed with a guy called, what was his name? The guy was so fast he used to.
Cool Papa Bell. Papa Bell?
Cool Papa Bell.
There it is.
They say he was so fast, he'd get in a hotel room at night, he'd turn the light out, and he'd be in bed before the light went out.
All right, guys.
Those guys had it tough. You know, they played 3 games a day. They couldn't go in a restaurant. They couldn't, but there were some great ball players. In fact, ball players, and also the singers in my era. Joe Stafford, all those great singers. I knew them all.
All right, so what did you do a couple years ago back in New York City?
I went down to that reunion they had there. That was in 2010, yeah.
That's Don, number 26. And that was the new Yankee Stadium. He hadn't been back to New York to see that.
The pants are too big.
He's his hardest critic. What was it like to be in the new stadium? Is it a lot bigger?
I like the old one better. And the new stadium, that in between innings, they got that rock and roll crap on. Everyone wants to hear that.
This was the anniversary of the 1950 World Championship team. Yeah. Who else was there?
Whitey Ford, Reggie Jackson. He wouldn't shake my hand. He came through and I said, "Well, hey, Reggie, I seen you on MacGyver. Remember MacGyver at the show?" Well, Reggie was on. I said, "You're pretty good in MacGyver." He said, "Who in the hell are you?" I said, "I've been around." So Whitey said, "Hey, this guy's a good pitcher in his day, so just be quiet."
Here's another shot of the same day, and that's Don on the upper right there.
Oh, it looks like a walrus. Well, the pants were too big.
All right, so let's start at the beginning.
Oh, God, that's me.
So, as I said, Don was born here in Portland and grew up just down the street from here.
Right down the street.
Whereabouts was it?
34th Ainsworth.
So that's like a block.
Yeah, about a block and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go home and eat soup. It's all we could afford. We had a depression, and we didn't have nothing. Lucky to have anything. Have a nickel, a dime. But that's come and gone,
Another sweet shot of little Don.
Oh, my God.
Shouldn't have shared these with me.
You mean I lived this long? Can't believe it.
So, of course, his elementary school was just a block away, and so he went through all 8 years at Kennedy. And tell us a little bit about teachers and the principal. Remember the principal?
Yeah, Mrs. Spencer. Yeah. I used to stutter like hell. I hate to get in front of people and I stutter. And I just hated to go to school because then they called me and say something, and I just couldn't get it out. But then I went to Jeff High and then got it out. I hung out in the pool halls there, so I didn't worry about them.
So talk about your other childhood friends here in Gorberger Tech and what that was.
Yeah, we had a 6-man football team. We called it Gorberger Tech. And it was a lot of fun, but I wasn't a football player.
Well, you also said that you used to play baseball on a vacant lot.
Vacant lot, yeah. The vacant lot. I got a shovel. I made a dugout. Yeah.
And who were you pretending to be as a pitcher?
Bob Feller.
Yeah.
The best I ever seen.
And he was saying that you used to go to the neighborhood theater, which was what, 30th?
30th Avenue Theater, yeah. 20 cents.
20 cents.
Yeah.
And they would show the newsreels, right?
Newsreels.
And didn't you say that's when you first saw Bob Feller live on a,
Yeah, well, that guy, he threw 110 miles an hour. Great pitcher. God bless him, he's dead. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go.
All right, so here's Don at Kennedy School. See if you can pick him out.
Oh, God.
He was always a tall kid, so you can guess he was in the back. All right, there he is.
Shall I tell him about my broken left arm?
Yes, you should.
Well, I was playing on this grade school team, and I was a left-handed pitcher, and I broke my arm. So Steve Hutton, the janitor, said, "Well, I'm going to make a right-hander out of you." So it's still bad, but he made a pretty good right-hander out of me, so I got a good pension, and well, hell with him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Hutton.
Boy, one more thing. When you're young, you got it made. You got it made. When you get old, it's all over. You can't. Yeah. I can't believe it that all these years have passed, you know.
Yeah. Well, you did it all.
Yeah.
So, you used to go on down to the Portland Beaver games, right?
Yeah, I snuck in down the right field bleachers.
Yeah.
It cost a quarter to get in, and it didn't have a quarter. So I used to sneak in a guy named Eddie Airrod. Ever heard of Eddie Airrod? Great right-hander. He looked good, but he didn't quite make it. Sneaking in bleachers.
You didn't live up in this neighborhood?
No, he lived up the northwest with Pesky. Yeah. Ever heard of Johnny Pesky? Great player.
So who were some of the pitchers you liked on the Beavers?
Oh, well, there's so many of them. Whitey Hilcher, remember him? And a few others throw pretty good.
You talked about Ad Liska?
Ad Liska, oh, God, what a great pitcher he was. He won 200 games here, you know.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. Little submarine ball. Let her go.
I wanted to go back to Steve Hutton because there were some great stories about him. He was the janitor here at Kennedy School, and he was Scottish. And he was the soccer coach here at Kennedy.
Oh, what a terrible game.
And, you know, I guess he adopted baseball once he moved here. But he didn't know much about it. What was his special pitch that he taught you?
The wiggle ball. It did. I mean, it did wiggle a little bit when I started throwing it. But when you're a big league pitcher, you get out on the mound and say, if you got a good fastball, hit it. That's all you do. You don't have to come up with all this other crap. Just throw the ball down there. 98 miles an hour.
They're not going to hit it anyway.
No, they're going to hit it.
Well, is that Vaughn Street? That is Vaughn Street right there in that photo, and that's Ad Liska in the inset. How many people have heard of or went to games at Vaughn Street? There's a few people. That's great.
I liked old Vaughn Street. Well, that was a good park. You know that?
It almost was burning down every game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's a great. Life's great when you're young, but when you're old, it's over. That's all you do.
Okay, so here's a shot of Don's idol, Bob Feller. All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, look at the leg kick.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
And just keep that in your mind because we're going to. I want you to recall that in another slide or two. All right, so from Kennedy School, you moved on to Jefferson, right?
Yep.
And what was the baseball situation at Jefferson?
Well, we had Lindsey Campbell as the coach, and it was okay. We had a good ball club. I was 12 years old and made the varsity. At 12 years old.
Now, my understanding is there were two dominant teams, high school teams in Portland at that time.
Lincoln was one.
Lincoln was one, and Jefferson was the other.
And we were the other.
Yeah, Demo!
Demo, yeah.
So we're showing the shot now of you in high school with your friends.
Boy, I looked good there, didn't I?
You're supposed to say it's obvious.
It's obvious.
He's the guy in the t-shirt on the second from the left.
Those were the days, I tell you.
So here he is with his coach, Lindsey Campbell. A big kid.
I had 50 women chasing me all the time.
Because some of these comments are going to have to go off mic, I think. Just kidding. All right, remember the Bob Feller leg kick? Guess who he idolized? There it is. How good were you in Legion Ball, Don?
He couldn't hit me.
Yeah. And
Throw hard.
talk about the scouts coming up.
Well, the scouts come around, but I could throw hard, but I didn't mean to hit anybody or anything like that. But
it happens sometimes.
oh, once in a while, I put Jimmy Pearsall in the hospital when he was with the Boston Red Sox. Hit him, and then he climbed the wall the next year. Remember that?
Yes, he went a little crazy.
He's a good ball player, Jimmy Pearsall, number 37.
So that summer, what was it? Summer of 43, 44?
43, yeah.
You were, there was no one better. I mean, you were throwing no-hitters.
There was nobody better than me any place.
You heard it here. And guess who paid attention? Where were the other scouts who were looking at you?
Red Sox, Philadelphia, the whole works. But my mom wanted me to go to college, but I flunked everything in high school. How could I go there?
Well, let's go back first. You were a student at Kennedy. You were a good student.
Here? Yeah, sure. I even skipped a grade.
Yeah.
Here, I was a good student. It was fun.
You had other things on your mind, though, by high school.
All I want to do is play ball. When you're a ball player, you got to eat it, sleep it, do everything with it. And that's your logic in baseball. If you're going to be a ball player, you got to stay with it, right, buddy?
All right. So, can you see who this guy is?
Joe Divine.
Yeah.
Scout with the Yankees, yeah.
And so, why did you end up going with the Yankees?
Because they pay more money. And my dad is a tough old Swede. And he says, the scouts come around, he says, you're a Swede, and you're going to work. You're not going to play with some little ball. You're going to work. And he changed mine and offered a few grand up there in tops, you know. I wanted to go to Philadelphia to add more money.
Would that have been the Phillies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them days, $10,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Back in 43.
No kidding. And how old were you? 15?
16.
16. And here he is. Here's the news. Signs with the Yanks. Just a baby.
16.
You know, tell that story about, you were saying, I think, between maybe 8th grade and 9th grade, you really physically got stronger. And do you remember the summer job you were telling me about?
Yeah. Summer job, I worked at Vernon Park. It's Alberta Park. And I had a machine that I had to mow the lawn with big
lawnmower.
wrist. And I got stronger than hell there because I wasn't very fast when I was 15. I used that machine and next year, Pongo. I didn't care. Let it go. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I got a kick. I'll make this one statement. I watched baseball on TV, and some of these pitchers making $20 million, they can't even throw a strike. Half of them.
What was the highest salary you ever got, Don?
$25,000.
$25,000. What is their food? What did you tell me their food allowance now per day or something?
It's $260 a day. You get meal money when you're on a big league team. That's a lot of money.
Okay, so he signs with the Yankees and he starts in the farm system. So here we are, Don, in Kansas City.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that. We got $3 a day to eat on, and all we could do was White Castle hamburgers. That's all we could eat.
Who were you playing? Who were the other teams you were playing in Kansas City?
Milwaukee Brewers in Kansas City, and
the Brewers were.
Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers.
They were a farm club.
And Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was only 17. I'd go to those guys. I don't know.
How long did you stay in KC?
Very shortly. I went up to Newark.
That's right.
Burned the league up when I got there.
So he went up to AA or AAA. What would that have been? Just the next step.
AAA. Yeah.
Well, here he is in Newark. That's him on the upper left.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And you did catch fire in Newark, didn't you?
Oh yeah. They couldn't hit me there. I got lucky, you know. You throw them strikes. And you got them days we could knock somebody down, you know, they get a little rambunctious, knock them down.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
You can't do that.
No, because throw you out of the game.
Did you notice a big change in the caliber of play between Kansas City and Newark?
Oh yeah. Newark, we were right in the midst of the little World Series there, but we got knocked out by Baltimore.
Yeah, I think that's here's. Let's see, October 1944.
That's a gal that was chasing me all year. She wrote that letter.
So it says on the bottom there, Don did a very good job in our organization, meaning Newark, this past season, and his future in baseball looks very bright. In addition to his ability as a player, he is also a mighty fine boy.
Yeah.
All right, so here's another fun thing from his scrapbook. He sent this home to his parents. This is July of '44.
Yeah, we got in the playoffs there. We won the second game there against somebody. I don't know who it was. But.
Yeah, and he says, won first game 3-2. Newark now in second place. We're in the playoffs in September.
Yeah.
Means extra money.
Oh yeah, about $35 a piece.
So who was playing in that same league that people would know? The names of some folks.
Well, you guys want to hear of these guys. Remember Frank Hillard? Right-end pitcher. Joe Boozes, who owned the Beavers, he was there. He was on our club.
Wow.
Joe Boozes. He was tight as hell, that guy. He wouldn't tip the clubhouse boy a quarter. You know, you gotta give him a couple bucks.
You were telling me, what's his name? Spud?
Spud Chandler? He's the guy that put the bull snake in my bed. Yeah.
And he played for the Beavers, right?
Yeah, Spud Chandler with the Yankees, good pitcher, but he hated rookies. And the first time there, he got this bull snake and put it in the bottom of my bed. I went to bed and there's that thing. They have heads like that, big heads. Well, it was going to kill me. And then when I was at the Yankees, we had that trip to St. Louis. It took 2.5 days to get there. So Spud was there too. He said, "You see that net up there? You put your arm in that, and then when you get there, you'll be arrested." I put it there. I got to St. Louis. I couldn't raise my arm. I was just a kid. I didn't know.
That was one of those nets you put your little dop kit in. It wasn't for his arm. That's what this guy told all the rookie pitchers.
Oh yeah, they hated rookies because they didn't want anybody to take their job. But I fooled them.
All right, so before we get to the Yankees parent club, no, we're going to go to Fort Lewis first.
Oh.
Were you drafted into the Army?
Drafted in the Army, yeah. Me and a guy named Leonard Younts. Ever heard of him?
From Portland?
Oregon State. And we went in the same train together.
And you, what did you do at Fort Lewis?
Nothing. Well, I took basic training.
But I mean, what did they want? What did?
They sent me overseas, but they said, "Well, you're going to stay here and pitch." So I took the pitching.
Yeah. So for the duration of the war,
yeah.
He played baseball.
We won 45 straight games. Nobody could beat us. We beat all the Coast League teams and everything.
Yeah. Tell us about where you were playing.
I played Oakland, San Francisco, Mission Reds, Sacramento. We had that long car, and one Tanya Harding runs around in. You remember? Yeah. Oh, she's got a car like that, Tanya Harding. She's drunk every day anyway. What's the difference?
Anyway.
I didn't mean that, Tanya.
So the whole team is being driven around in the big car up and down the coast.
The car is longer than this aisle. Really is.
And so these Army teams are better than, because all these men have been drafted into service, so there's not many good players left on the professional teams.
Most of them are gone, like Feller and Dimaggio and all them guys are.
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams. There was a guy. Flew 5 years jets. a great man.
Yep.
One of the greatest hitters I've ever seen. He told me one time, he said, "Don't try to fool me. Just throw it down the pipe and let me hit it."
He never got a home run off you, did he?
Never hit a home run, but a lot of line drives. A lot of line drives.
So this cartoon, what did you tell me? Was it in the, where were we?
The New York Times.
New York Times. And it says, if you can read it on the side, the best mound prospect in the Yankee rookie crop.
Yeah, that was nice of him to do that. Never ends up that way, but it's
and it mentions his Army career up on the top there.
Yeah.
All right, so
oh God, what a picture!
here he is with Eddie Arod, the two stars from Portland at that point, both going up to the major leagues. And Eddie went up with who?
Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, right.
And he had a great curveball and everything, but they didn't give him a chance. He won 20 games with Hollywood Stars in the Coast League. Baseball's not what it used to be. Bunch of babies out there now. That's all. Got it in millions. I mean it.
It's true. I mean, they specialize so much these days.
Oh.
When you were there, you were hitting as a pitcher, batting, I mean,
Yeah.
and going almost full games every time.
9 innings.
Yeah.
9 innings. You went 9. You didn't get 4 or 5. They do these days. You go 5, put another guy in. 2 innings. Let him out of the game. Who's that, Whitey?
Now, this is Bill Bevins. That's your train ride out.
Oh yeah, that's Bill Bevins. We played Brooklyn Dodgers in the World Series, and he pitched 8 2/3 innings, and he had a no-hitter. But then the Cookie Lavagero came up, blew one, and hit the fence and came back, and 2 runs scored, and lost it 2-1. Bill Bevins, nice fellow, lived in Hubbard, Oregon. There, he could throw a ball through this school too. I tell you.
And the two of you went out to Yankees spring training, right?
Yeah, we took the
Took
train.
the same train out to New York.
Yeah, my dad said, gave the porter $5. Watch the kid. I never seen a porter in a whole trip. That's the way it works. Yeah.
So, I mean, think about this. How old are you? 20? 19? 20?
Just turned 20.
Just turned 20. Hadn't really been out of the West Coast.
No.
And headed for New York.
Yep, New York City.
All right, so tell what happened. See this picture?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to New York, and I was supposed to, all the guys were in the hotel in New York, so I was supposed to catch the bus out to the Yankee Stadium the next day, but I got on the I missed the bus. I got on the D train, and I got off in Harlem. And I got off that train, and people looking, the guy said, "You got to get out of here." So I walked across the street, and who's there? Sugar Ray Robinson bar. So I knocked at the door, and he come out there, and he says, "Oh God, you got to get out of here." So he put me in his Cadillac, took me around the stadium. What a nice guy he was. Sugar Ray, what a fighter.
What better escort to the Bronx Yankee Stadium for the first time? Sugar Ray Robinson drops him off.
Yeah, he dropped me off there. Gave him seats. He said, "If you ever get lost again, stop in." Nice guy. I got his autograph.
This is actually a shot outside his club with the card.
That's the bar I went in. I went in that bar, and he come right to the door. He said, "You got to get out of here." I went with him. No kidding. I got his autograph. What a nice man. What a fighter. Oh. He killed that Cassius Clay.
Okay, so here's Don down in spring training.
St. Pete.
St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yeah.
Now, tell us what manager Buck Harris said.
About me?
Yeah, no, about
Manager?
what was expected of you on the team. The first team meeting.
Oh. We're going to have a team meeting. They said, "I want you guys, I don't want no milkshake players on this team. If you're going to drink whiskey and beer. And don't bring any whores in the same hotel we stay at."
Meeting over.
Meeting over.
20-year-old Don Johnson from Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I did Portland.
Made it big time. All right. So.
Well, I'll say one thing. I'm grateful I got to play. I mean, it's an honor to be here and see you people, and I'm very grateful I got to play ball.
There's Yogi.
Yeah, there's Yogi. He flunked everything in school too. He didn't care. He's got 10 World Series rings. 10. He could hit. That guy was a good hitter.
Now he showed up fresh off the boat, practically, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a sailor suit on. He had a Navy fatigues, and got on the plane. Get on the plane. There's Jack Dempsey. What are you going to do? You know, there he's Jack Dempsey and all of them big shots. So Yogi had 2 suitcases, one of Navy fatigues, now all full of comic books. Every one. Yeah, he's quite a hitter.
And you roomed with him in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, I saw him get married. He's still married to the same girl, 73 years.
Yeah.
Carmen. He had a son named Dale Barra. He was Pittsburgh. They hit the drugs, and when he hit the drugs, it's over. Forget it. It's over. I think.
This is Don, action shot, kind of, in St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Well, he was pretty young there, wasn't he?
1947.
Yeah.
So tell us what it was like as a 20-year-old to show up at Yankee Stadium.
It's awesome.
Yeah. What other word can you use?
You walk out there, and I won my first 4 games. So here's Bob Feller with Cleveland. You're going to pitch today. Oh, gee, Feller. And he beat me 1-0. I went all the way.
Amazing game.
It's an amazing game. And 4 days later in Cleveland, he beat me again 2-1. But
the house that Ruth built is just full of legends.
I love that ballpark.
What was your favorite ballpark?
Fenway Park in Boston.
Yes.
I loved it there.
Are people hissing out there? Oh, man. All right, tonight we'll go with the Yankees, I guess.
The Yankees are hurting. Everybody's on the disabled list.
All right, here's Joe, Don already mentioned him, but here's Jack outside his club. Now, tell the folks about his club.
Who's that, Jack Dempsey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the players, they come in off the road trip. They go to Jack Dempsey's bar. He gives free drinks, to big leaguers.
And didn't you say it's right near the ballpark?
Yeah, it's right there. It's right near the Edison Hotel.
Yeah.
I stayed at the Edison Hotel. I was back there on a visit, and it was $350 a night. When I stayed there, it was $3 a night. And I had a room right next to Milton Berle. He was drunk every day, but a nice guy.
Now, but that wasn't the first hotel you stayed in New York.
No, the Belvedere. See, all the cowboys were there and everything, and rodeos. I was scared to death there. I thought they were going to kill me.
Yeah, that might have been Spud Chandler who hooked you up with that, too. Tell the story about the bookie guy.
You mean the guy?
Who lived in the hotel.
Yeah, the guy lived in the Hotel Bell, and he come by and he said, "Hey, you're a rookie." I said, "Yeah, I know." He said, "Would you like to make $5,000? I said, "We're doing what?" "Just make a couple bad pitches next game." So I went right to the commissioner and turned him in. So I didn't do that. They had all kinds of guys like that, sleaze balls.
All right, but here was someone not a sleazeball. This is Joe D.
Oh.
So this leads to the
He's
next
the best I've ever seen, Joe.
next part of the story. Who got you out of the Belvedere Hotel?
Joe said, "You come run with me. We're going to the Edison Hotel. That's only $3 a night."
Yeah.
That was fun. Things have changed, things change.
Well, let's talk some more about Joe, because he and you had a.
We had a friend. Have you ever heard of George Shearing? That was Joe's best friend around. He liked George Shearing. He always took me around. And we go on road trips. He called my room. He said, "I want you up in my room. I want you to sit there with me." So I go to his room and I sit there for hours, 2-3 hours. He'd stare out the window, And then we go to the movie. He could not walk on the street. People would completely mob him. That's how famous he was, Joe.
Have people read stories about Joe that I think probably it's because he was just so famous, like Don was saying. He gets mobbed everywhere in public. So he spent a lot of time in his room. And he didn't want to be alone.
He couldn't go on the street.
But tell him about that.
He couldn't go on the street. He had to have everything sent to his room. Eats and food and everything. He couldn't go. But the worst thing I've seen with Joe, I don't want to talk about him, but meeting that Marilyn Monroe down there in the Brown Derby in Hollywood. I met Marilyn Monroe. I didn't think, hey, half you guys was a lot better looking than her. No, I didn't care for her. And Lucille Ball was so damn drunk she couldn't stand up. What a play. What a bunch of jerks, I tell you. Yeah, booze.
Talking about Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I find it fascinating. I learned this. I heard those stories about Don and Joe first, and then read that Joe Dimaggio, formed friendships with other young ball players who could be a companion, who would just sit and listen.
That's
what he did. And listen to him. He didn't want to be alone.
And you got to go out with him?
Yeah, he was famous, but he couldn't go anyplace.
But you did go to the dog race. Tell him about the track when.
Oh yeah, I went to the track one down St. Pete. Him and me and Yogi. He gave me $100 bill and said, "Put 100 on this dog to win." Just like that, 100.
Then what happened?
Well, I put the wrong dog, and he got battered hell happy. Joe D.
But then you won him some money, right?
I did one time. Yeah, I put on the right dog, and he won. He won $25,000 one night.
Whoa!
He had money, $100 bills, everything. But what a guy! It's my honor to even know him. That's the way I feel about it. And I'll say again, I want to thank all the people that helped save my life. I want to say that because I was in bad shape. So I say it again. Thank you very much.
All right, so now we got the photo of Ted and Joe.
Oh, yeah. Two very good players there.
Can't get much better.
Can't get better.
How about the Camilo Pes?
Oh.
Tell that story.
Camilo Pascual was a right-handed pitcher for who the hell was he with? Havana or somebody. He struck Ted out. They're playing Washington, and they struck Ted out. He said, "Mr. Williams, would you please sign this for me? I'll take it back to my Cuba, my hometown." You know how Ted was. You don't want to sign nothing. He signed it. It's a true story. 4 days later, they're in Fenway Park, and he's up, and the guy's pitching, hit one over the center field bleachers. He says, "You want me to sign that one too?"
All right, so
he was one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen in my life.
1947 was also the year that Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, I pitched against him too. Gee, who in the hell didn't I face them years? He was a great player, and he took a lot of crap up in Brooklyn, you know. But Gil Hodges and Pee Wee Reese took care of him. They got him going. He died young. He's a great athlete.
Now, when would you have played against Jackie Robinson?
And that's 47. See, we had a 3-game series against Brooklyn.
Preseason, right?
Yeah, that's where I saw that. Next year I saw Sandy Koufax with Montreal. Boy, that guy had good stuff. Boy, rolled off that curveball.
So did Robinson and Koufax ever play together?
No, they didn't. No.
He came up a little later,
Yeah.
Koufax.
Yeah.
So this is, Jackie's wearing the Montreal uniform here.
Right, yeah.
So this was before he came
Before
up
he played the 3-game series
Yeah.
against New York. Yeah, right.
All right, so here's your pitching staff.
Wow.
That's Don on the upper left.
Right there. Those guys are good. Every one of them.
Who are they?
Vic Raffy, Allie Reynolds, Bud Chandler, Frank Shea, Bill Bevins, Bobo Newsom. My name's Bo. B-O-B-O. Bobo. Yeah. I roomed with Bobo. He used to walk in his sleep. Have room service. He'd wake me up. He'd stand there with a knife. That's all right, Bo. I wasn't going to stab you, he said. I tell you, I played ball a long time, but I've met a lot of characters in baseball. I'm one myself, but what's the difference?
Now here's your World Championship team, 47.
Hey, we had a ball club. Look at that. Look at them guys. The bat boys in front turned out to be detectives in New York after their job, yeah. Jacobs and the detectives. Boy, what a club. Ooh.
Where's Don?
Yeah, far left, second row.
26.
Yeah,
Second row,
26.
yeah.
The one guy who didn't sign it, Don, what's up with that?
I thought I signed it.
You signed someone else's name then.
I probably did.
You got a Mickey Mantle story for us?
Lots of stories, but
I don't really have time for all that. Mickey Mantle. He took Dimaggio's place, remember? Okay. We always thought it was funny, Mickey'd leave about the 6th inning and go in the clubhouse. You know what he was doing in there? Double shot of vodka and back out there. He was a great player, but he had that booze, you know, that'll kill you. One thing about me, I never drank much.
All right, so from Mickey Mantle to, we're going to skip over, we already talked about Milton Berle.
Oh, Milton Berle, Jesus.
There's Don in his Yankees uniform. Well, let's talk about this guy.
Oh, God, Billy Martin. There was a tough cookie right there. He'd fight anybody. I hitchhiked all the way from Berkeley, California to St. Pete with him. We were hitchhiking. And every place he stopped, he'd want to fight. And he could fight.
Where were you headed?
St. Pete.
For spring training?
Yeah. Excuse me.
How many sober moments were there on that trip?
None. Of course, I was sober. I had to watch him. You ever heard of Babe Dieterson Zaharias?
Yeah, golfer, swimmer, right?
Yeah, and then she had a husband, a wrestler, George Zaharias. Billy cleaned his clock in about 10 minutes down in St. Pete. They were fighting. Barton and him. He weighed 280 pounds. Well, he could have been the welterweight champion of the world. Tough guy. Well, anyway, I want to thank all the people who helped me get over this heart attack, because I had a bad one. And I just want to thank them again. What they do for me.
see. Let's look at a couple other pictures. This is when you went to the White Sox.
Yeah, I was warming up to go to the ball game there, yeah. I looked pretty good there.
You had good seasons there.
Yes, I did.
Who else was on that team?
Nellie Fox, one of my best friends. He got a little pimple on his face. A week later, he was dead. You know what it was? It was melanoma. It went inside and killed him.
Jeez.
What a good little player he was, Nellie Fox. Yeah, we had Ferris Fain. He was drunk every day. They mind him. But then we had Chico Carrasquel, and we had a lot of good, Johnny Groth and Jim Rivera. They had good players, good pitchers.
Fun baseball cards of Don. That's with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Don described this as his mean face. You gotta have that as a pitcher.
Well, as a pitcher, you gotta look mean once in a while. You can't walk out and be a little Lord Fauntleroy, right? You gotta rear back and let it go. You know. Here, hit it.
That last picture, what was that team?
That is the Orioles.
I was going to say it looks like the Birds.
Yep.
Yeah. When was
Oh, I look pretty good there.
What year was that?
55.
55.
That's when Brooks Robinson joined the club. He was only 18 years old there, but we had a good ball club.
Yeah. Don, did you ever meet Ernie Harwell?
Yeah, wonderful guy, wonderful
He was
announcer.
announcing for the Birds then.
Huh?
He was announcing for the Birds.
Oh yeah, Ernie Harwell is very good. The guy I miss is a guy in Seattle, Dave Niehaus.
Yeah.
I miss him. He got that Sims. He's a jerk. I don't know how he ever get a job. He talks about football when the baseball game's going on, doesn't he? Dave Sims.
Don, how many years were you with the Orioles?
This too.
55 and 6?
Yeah, half a six, and then that's when I got the MVP in the International League. I made more money down there than any place.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's head south and talk about winter ball and the International League down
Oh,
out of
Caracas,
this-
Venezuela.
out of this country.
Excuse me. I'm kind of sick.
I'm all right. But
That winter ball's tough. You make $1,500 a month. You can't drink the water because you got diarrhea every day, and that's how it goes, you know. But what happened to me there? I had to Caracas, Venezuela. Remember those little airplanes? Those super connies with the three tails. Well, I took a plane to the States from Caracas, and on the way down, the plane crashed, hit one of the mountains. Yeah, lucky there.
And what, trying to remember the story, you were down there, but you needed to get out?
You got to have a solvencia paper that shows you paid all your taxes and everything, and I didn't have one. I had to take the colonel's daughter out and take her to dinner so I could get a solvencia paper. But I got one. They're really strict down there. You could, you know. But I got out
As long as
of
you're
it.
charming, though, you can find a way out.
Oh, hell, I was charming all my life. You know that.
All right, so we got an interesting photo here in Havana. Who's that pitcher?
Castro. That's Fidel Castro. And he was a good pitcher. He had good stuff. He played with the University of Havana and also the Havana Sugar Kings in winter ball.
So you pitched against him.
Oh, yes. I was a good friend of his. Fidel Castro.
But things kind of changed.
Yeah, when he got into power, put these young kids on the dugout with submachine guns. There are 5 or 6 of them sitting there with a submachine gun. There you are. What are you going to do? I caught the first plane to the States right the next day. I wasn't going to hang around there. No way.
So before he came into power, we're showing the casinos and the hotels
Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
down in Havana.
Yeah. That's a beautiful hotel.
Don stayed there. That's where he stayed.
But I stayed after that in George. Ever heard of George Raft?
Yeah.
What a guy. I stayed in his hotel.
George had Capri.
Yep, that's the Capri right there. And then that's George up top.
Yeah.
And his companion is Bugsy Siegel.
Bugsy Siegel. I know him too. Yeah. I was kind of a wanderer. Yeah, it's been a great life. I appreciate you people coming and listening to me. You know.
Don, did you stay in the other hotel there, the Hotel Nacional?
Oh, National, wonderful place. Yeah, National Hotel. Yeah, I stayed there too.
Yeah, he was pointing out his window in this photo.
That's quite a place. That's Guantanamo Bay. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I didn't make too bad money there. You got anything else?
Let's see what we got. Oh, let's go up to Toronto and talk about Jack Kent Cooke.
Jack Kent Cooke. He sold Liberty magazines for a nickel a copy. And before 15 years was over, he owned everything. He owned the Lakers, he owned the Forum, he owned the Toronto Club.
He's the one
selling magazines for a nickel a copy, and he made it.
He's one who finally paid you pretty well, didn't he?
Yes, very good. If I won a ball game, this is the year I won 27 games. I always had a little envelope under my seat at the ballpark. You know, guy betted on me, a few bucks there, and I love Toronto. I own that town. It was a great town. That's where I got my autograph from Ella Fitzgerald.
Wow.
What a singer. Oh! And then the one singer that followed me around a little bit was Joe Stafford. Ever heard of her? Yeah, she's a good girl. She's 95 years old now.
So here's someone else who followed you around a little bit.
Is that her?
That's her. That's Jack Kent Cooke's wife.
She followed me every place I went on the road.
That's kind of dangerous territory, Don.
No, I didn't fool around much anyway. But she was a beauty.
Here's with the Orioles.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is thank you guys for coming and listening to all my stuff. But
yeah,
it really happened. Whatever I told you is true stories.
We're coming to the end. This is a shot from what's it say, 1980. Don, once he came back to Portland, drove a cab.
Oh, I must have been drunk there.
Broadway cab. And this was a great article that was done at that time.
I got shot right to the head driving one of them things.
Yeah, he needs a whole nother night to talk about his cab years.
Yeah. Guy held me up and put the gun and pulled the trigger. There I was.
So on these last couple articles that came out a couple years ago when Don went back to New York, we'll finish our part of the talk up, but would love to answer any questions. Anybody who has questions for Don, feel free.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Oh, wow. Great.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thanks to Don. Any questions out there?
Oh, that's no big deal. That's just another guy.
All right, well,
Yeah. Hi, Dick.
You had a question back there, sir?
I'm just curious if you ever saw Satchel Paige sitting down the whole outfield, but if you ever faced him in any bomb-storming games or one of the
No, he had his own seat down in St. Louis, the kind of rocking chair.
He was 85 years old when he was pitching to me. 85 years old when he was pitching. And Cool Papa Bell, he was fast. Do you want to sign in?
So we had a question from the audience about, didn't you get to meet Babe Ruth?
Yes, I did meet Babe Ruth. I shook his hand. And I did meet Babe Ruth in 47. He had an old camel hair coat on and that little beady hat. And he come down and he's working on it. He had cancer of the throat at that time. And all I had to do was grab a ball and say, Mr. Ruth, would you please sign this? I've been a millionaire. Connie Mack was my first ball game I pitched against Philadelphia. I went all the way, and he was sitting in the dugout with a straw hat on. That's how old I am. Connie Mack, remember him? Okay. Yeah. Baseball's a great game. Been good to me. Since I'm still alive.
John, tell him about the time you faced Mickey Mantle twice in the same game. He came in the 8th inning, and then but after 14, he hit a home run out of the stadium. Tell him about that. Yeah. Tell him about that. Tell everybody.
Mickey Mantle hit a home run off me in the 14th inning. It was 77th home run.
Yeah, but you struck him out earlier.
I struck him out early, but who had to face Yogi? Him? All in big shots. Oh, tough goal. Chicago.